Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Mandates. I am Kelly.
And I am Andrew.
And let me tell you what Movie Mandates is. This is the show where my brother and I force each other to watch a movie based on a certain theme. And it is Pride Month. Happy Pride. And I got to choose my movie, Una Mujer Fantástica, The Fantastic Woman. But before we get to talking about that movie, brother can challenge me in this installment of Trivial Trivia.
So I fretted over this week's Trivial Trivia.
Oh, they're getting harder, I know.
Well, I thought, look, A Fantastic Woman, whatever you think about the movie, is not one I would describe as light and fluffy.
No.
So I thought for Trivial Trivia, normally Kelly and I try to keep our Trivial Trivia questions in theme, but I'm throwing that out out the window today and just doing something genuinely light and fluffy. So, okay. Kelly,
brother,
recite 5 quotes from UHF.
Okay, I can do it. When he goes, and I know this is stupid, but he goes, a UHF station, a UHF station. He does that.
Okay, that's surprising. That's one of them, but okay, sure.
Why is that surprising? That was hilarious.
I bet I could ask this question to a bunch of different people and no one would pick that one, but
because they're losing in ratings.
It's like, what do you think my father would say if he were alive today? Help, let me out of this box. I can't breathe in here. Help, let me out.
That's hilarious. Okay, so
and take that ridiculous thing off.
And then there's can I just say Conan the Librarian, because that's part of their upcoming. And then I remember Spatula City, we got spatulas in that song.
Spatula City, we've got spatulas, and that's all.
And then
okay, don't you know the Dewey Decimal System?
Oh, that's Gandhi. That's
Conan the Librarian.
Oh, Conan the Librarian is Dewey Decimal System, but Gandhi has a gun in theirs. And what's her face with the cute voices in it? Victoria Jackson.
Victoria Jackson.
Okay, what else? I don't know. Oh my gosh. And everything you're saying, I'm like, oh yes, I remember that so well.
It's more difficult when you're put on the spot because your mind just goes blank.
Because I'm just, but then the minute you say like, help, let me out of here. I can't breathe in here. That's hilarious. I don't know. What are okay, so they have the Spatula City, and then they have the ratings, and then they have Conan the Librarian, and they have Gandhi, and then they have, I don't know, my mind is blank. What else is there? And give me a scene. I'll pitch in.
There's Cooney, the guy who runs the martial arts studio.
Oh, who's the guy who has, I've just cut you off completely. Isn't there a white-haired dude who gets taken by aliens? That's not a, but at the very end, doesn't his face go
yeah, he is an alien. He returns to his own people now that his job
and he
here
says
is done.
Something about it. He says like, I have to or is like, my work here is, he said, what is his, he departs saying, but his whole face goes
yeah,
okay, that counts.
Okay. I mean, you're describing a scene, but and getting the gist of what he says, sure. But there's Cooney, the martial arts instructor, who always has something to say either to his students after he throws them out of a window.
Oh my God, didn't he kick someone's head off and the blood starts spurting out? Is that not? Is that still Conan the Librarian who cuts the kids?
Well, I mean, he chops someone in half for having an overdue library book.
That's right. He does. Because I remember there's like spurting.
But he also hosts Wheel of Fish, and a woman doesn't get the right fish, so he says,
"Stupid! You're so stupid!"
Yep.
Wheel of
Hey, Fish. Cooney, beginner's class today. Yeah, they're so stupid.
That's right.
God. Stupid.
Oh my, I would not have until you said Wheel of Fish, and I'm like,
Wheel of Fish.
I totally remember that.
Oh, red snapper. It's very tasty. Where are you gonna go with what's in the box?
The box. Isn't there nothing in the box? It's
nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stupid. You're so stupid. All right. How about anything from Raoul's Wild Kingdom, where he has all the animals in his apartment?
Oh, they do the "we don't need no stinking badgers"
That's
line.
True.
Badgers. We don't need
what does he do with the poodles?
Raoul's, doesn't he chuck him out the window?
Why?
Because they're learning how to fly. He's
like, okay, Fifi, go. Bud. You know, sometimes it takes them more than once to get it right. Okay, Gigi.
I remember now.
And what about turtles? He has little turtles. He demonstrates something.
Doesn't he flip them on the back? Doesn't he? He's like, oh, they don't like that.
Well, that's the ant farm.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, they hate it when you do this. Oh, look, they're really mad.
Mad now. It's like an Etch-a-Sketch. Doesn't he call it an Etch-a-Sketch?
Yeah. Well, he shakes it like an Etch-a-Sketch, but he does something with the turtle. He says turtles are nature's
suction cups.
That's right. And he licks it. He sticks it on the look. It sticks. Ah.
That's right. Their nature's suction cups is the best moment ever. Oh my god! And the thing is that like,
where'd you find this guy? Me? I thought you hired him.
Oh my! Remind me to tell you something. I can't steal another comedian's bit, so I'll tell you something later. But that reminds me. Oh my gosh, that movie! And like, none of these are things that Weird Al says. What is his role in the movie?
Oddly enough,
he's the straight man.
George is the straight man for the most part in this movie, which is kind of weird.
Have you seen Weird yet? I haven't seen it.
The Daniel Radcliffe. Yeah, I did.
Oh, good. I mean, I know it's not like about Al, but
it is a parody of
the man
music biopics. It's a music biopic of Al Yankovic being the whole thing is a parody. So none of it's true.
Right.
But the whole thing is a parody of, music biopics.
Oh,
so
I want to see it. I haven't seen it yet. But
yeah, it's, I think I can imagine there's probably some people like, what is it? I was expecting an actual biographical look at the life of Weird Al Yankovic. What are they just give it like? It's a parody. That's what he do.
So is it like the same people who are like the dubbing in Kung Pao Enter the Fist was terrible?
Kind of, yeah. It's that same kind of. It's just
if you didn't know, like
Stephen Oedekerk, I think his name is, says, could you any more not get it?
Yeah.
I can imagine that some people just didn't understand that the film Weird is a parody,
right.
Itself a parody of music biopictures. So,
man, oh my gosh, UHF. Do you have it on VHS?
I do not have it on VHS. I do have it on DVD, but
did you ever have it on VHS?
Mm-mm.
What year is that one?
Goodness, probably would have been like 88, 89, something like that. Let me see. 89, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I saw it in the theater. I don't remember seeing it in the theater if I did.
I don't think so.
I must have seen it on TV or rented it from Blockbuster or the Hollywood Video and
then taped it and watched it a million times.
Probably because I watched it a lot because it's funny.
Yeah. So. Wheel of Fish. Oh man.
Wheel of Fish. I actually like the strip solitaire. They don't do any. It's just one of the shows they let pass. But and at 7:30 strip solitaire. And it's like. It really makes you think.
That it does.
So
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you, brother. That was very fun.
just call
And
me Mr. Butterfingers.
I
I
didn't.
think it's on the floor somewhere.
Oh dear.
Oh, is
My
my
hand
face red?
is it just goes like this. I remember it so well. Oh
Will
my
you
god.
look at that?
Oh
Oh,
my god.
oh, okay.
Jeez, there's so much. It's so good. It's so good. And now we have to bring it way.
Have you ever seen actually Emo Phillips? I think the guy's name is. Do I have his name right? Let me.
Mm,
You know, I'm talking that guy who I was just quoting from the movie saws off his yeah, Emo Phillips.
I don't think I know who this is.
He's a comedian. So I was going to ask, have you ever seen any of his stand up?
I do not believe I have.
I have. It is surprisingly dark in some places.
Hmm.
It's he's like I met a girl and she's the love of my life, and I love every piece of bit about her from the top of her head to the tip of her toe tag. It's like, oh my god. Yeah.
Dark.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's one of those comedians that has a style and delivery like really no other. You know, that no one really does his shtick. He's and my first, I did not know him from Adam when I saw UHF.
Right.
But I find it's like, I know he's a comedian. I should look up some of the stand-up in it. It's actually some very funny. If you have the right
Nice.
sense of humor.
What is his name? Let me write it in really quick.
Emo Phillips.
Emo, like
EMO.
EMO.
Pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Look at me. All right, because I will forget.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So A Fantastic Woman,
Yes.
2017.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Did it win any? I think it won some stuff.
Yeah, it won
Academy
the Academy
Award for Best International
foreign
Feature Film.
Yeah.
It did. Okay, because I was like, I remember Daniela Vega being on stage in a fabulous dress.
She presented that year, right? Or maybe the next year?
Maybe
she presented at some point.
Yeah, probably the next year, because it could have been that year because she was a breakout star, or a lot of times like the breakout stars of one year and the winners of the year do the presenting at the next year. But yeah, absolutely, she did. But yeah, so A Fantastic Woman.
So was its a win a few years ago? Is how it got on your radar?
It did, yes, absolutely.
I think this is only the second Chilean film I've seen.
What's the first? Not sure. Okay.
I don't know. Is it Big Ass Spider?
Oh, okay. You're like, it's a weird little film. We're not okay.
Let me see if that one is actually is the one I'm thinking of. No, that's a US film. Okay.
But something else that is
something. It was something, I think it was something that I watched during my 30 days of Netflix that I did like 6 years ago, and Big Ass Spider was one of them. So
okay, but it was one of these obscure-ish to some, but maybe not to everybody.
Yeah.
To those who don't know Chilean cinema.
Yeah. So
there you go. Yeah, but absolutely. I can't say I've seen a lot of Chilean movies. I do a lot of Mexico and Spain, I guess. Not that just because,
which was weird because the Spanish is different. So I was like,
it is. When it came up, I was like, oh, that's not how I would have said that.
Yeah, and it made it kind of difficult because the pronoun usage and the feminine masculine forms of the various words is very important to the narrative.
Yes.
And some of it I couldn't pick up on. And so kudos to the subtitlers, who I think were doing a pretty good job, a really decent job conveying the appropriate masculine feminine forms in the translation.
Yes, absolutely. yeah, so it was very funny because when I ordered the film, I guess I didn't even think about looking to see if it was subtitled until afterwards, and I was like, oh, this is going to be very angering to me if this is dubbed. But so, goodness gracious, thank goodness. So in a nutshell, um I don't think that this movie fits in a nutshell, but like just as a very small to get you through the movie.
Found it. When I did 30 Days of Netflix, the fifth movie I did was Big Ass. It was 7 years ago. Big Ass
Okay.
Spider was the fifth movie I did. The first one was a little film from Chile called Bring Me the Head of the Machine Gun Woman.
Oh, well, that just sounds fantastic.
I watched it because it's called Bring Me the Head of the Machine Gun Woman. I'm like, I don't even need to read a description of this one. I'm gonna watch it.
I mean,
So, yeah.
same reason why you watch "Don't Be a Menace to Society" to South Central,
Central
while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 Chilean films so far as I know.
Yes. Okay. So an elderly gentleman who's only 57, by the way. So, but neither here nor there. I am extraordinarily excited to live in a day where 50 is still, seen as, sexy. And I'm like, thank gosh.
Well, to some.
To some. To my other better damn well be. So yeah, so an
I don't know. I was
gentleman.
like, there's like 20 some years between you two. Ew, but whatever.
You naysayer, you ageist.
I'm just so many times in film, the male, you have a romantic couple depicted in film, and it's always the dude who's like 20 years older.
Okay, so as much as I agree with that, and as much as I can't stand that, I will say two things. Daniela Vega, or Marina, sorry, the I don't want to talk about the actress.
Who plays
the character Marina is not a baby, as in she's
not 22.
She's not in her early 20s. She's either like she's 30, maybe.
Mid to later 30s, somewhere around there. I would think.
Like she's in her 30s, so at least that it's like she is her own adult. She is her own person. There's not like she's not just out of school. And they as in the actual film acknowledges it.
Yeah, it's part of the
whereas when you're talking about like Hepburn and Tracy, you're just supposed to be like, it's okay that he's in his 40s and she's 19. We're fine here. So I think that's a bit of the difference there.
Yeah, it's a lot of the golden age of actors. Like they kept pairing Cary Grant with, women who were 22 in every role, no matter how old he got. And it just gets really uncomfortable after a while. It's like,
yes, it does. So,
I think he was paired with Katharine Hepburn in one film. I think it was Charade or something like that. And there's like 30 years between these two. I'm like, it's just not working. I mean, he's still a debonair dude, and he's great, but I'm just not buying this relationship here. So but whatever. Anyway,
that's all right. Back to this though.
Back to the movie we're actually reviewing.
20 minutes later. No, it's fine. So the age difference, it's addressed. It's a kind of a plot point. It's its own thing. It's
an element of the story.
It's an element of the story. So
it's not a matter of we only cast young, hot women,
right? Dudes
no one cares about.
Right.
It's actually an element of the story.
It is, because said 57-year-old gentleman passes early on in the film. And it's basically his name is Orlando, right? And he passes and leaves his girlfriend of like a little over a year, I guess, is what they
I mean, she had just moved in with him. So, right. I don't think they outright state, but you get the sense that they've been a couple for a good while now.
Well,
at least a year.
The reason I say years because he was a married man, and I think that the divorce was finally finalized due to the fact that the ex-wife, when she calls herself the wife first, as in it might be very new. And she mentioned in that interaction, her and the new girlfriend, she's like, a year ago when he told me he was, leaving me, basically, I was like, oh boy.
See, that's something I was confused about at first. I wasn't sure if Marina,
yes,
if she was the mistress. Like, I didn't know if he was still married because of that conversation. She says, "Oh, I'm the wife." I'm like, "Oh, well, that changes how I feel about this character." She goes, but then she says, or at least it's translated as, "Well, I guess the ex-wife now." And I'm like, is she saying that because he's dead, so she's no longer a wife, or because they're divorced? Because that's kind of important about how I feel about these characters.
I believe that he fell in love with this singer and it broke the marriage apart. So I don't know, and I don't want to say that but consensually,
when the movie starts, they are divorced and he's with another woman.
But it might be very, very newly divorced. I mean, I believe that his marriage fell apart because
of course, I don't think his ex-wife is his age either. She looks older than Marina, but she doesn't look 57. She looks
like she's in her 40s. She's like,
maybe pushing 50.
Yeah, very. But that's all right. Beautiful women both. Very different looking women.
True.
And not just because one is trans, which we haven't even talked about. Whatever. I was getting to that because it's a plot point. So
not to bury the leader. That's like what the film's about.
But they do so the movie opens with this couple and how loving they are, and they truly love each other, and they're having fun, and he's watching her work. She's singing in a nightclub, and it shows you're just like, oh, it's
a bar, but yeah,
a bar, whatever. But like, they're happy and they're looking at each other, and they go out, and it's her birthday,
and they're going to Malta. I don't remember where they got tickets to go to.
Tickets that are MacGuffin and never come up. Who knows?
And they never find them.
They never find them.
Did you know what the key was for when you first saw it?
I didn't know it was for a locker, but I was like, that's where the stuff. I'm like, wherever that is, that's where it is. It's in a lockbox. I figured it
out immediately. I'm like, I bet that's the like his locker at the sauna.
Because I was like, that's a lockbox key. Like that's what but I wasn't thinking sauna.
Or a storage locker. Yeah. And she finally, and we'll get to that scene later, but what I love about the movie is it's not in there. They never find it.
They never find it. Yeah.
And it's like any other movie, most other films, this would be kind of her consolation prize, right?
Yeah.
She'd find the tickets and she'd have a nice time in Malta or wherever the hell the tickets were for. But nope, not in there. No idea what the hell he did with it.
And I felt very conflicted at that moment because I wanted her to have something.
But at the dog.
Yeah, she does. But at the same time that I wanted her to have something, I love that it just turned it on its head as like, this is real life, guys. And it sometimes isn't this easy. Not that anything in Marina's moment of us watching this movie was
I mean, that's essentially what the film is about. It's like the micro and macro aggressions that a trans person has to deal with day in, day out.
Which, by the way, louder for the people in the back, if I may, no one in their right mind would just opt to do this if it wasn't like truly like people who are like
trans.
Yes.
Oh,
that's the thing. People like the people who are anti-trans or they don't get it or whatever, and like these people just want to go into someone else's bathroom. I'm like, no one would choose to be treated this way.
Well, this movie,
it's the fact that this is their reality.
This is a movie that shows unequivocally what really happens when a trans woman is in both the ladies' changing room and the men's changing room at the sauna.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Absolutely
not a goddamn
nothing.
thing.
That's true.
Nothing.
That's actually very true. I didn't even think about that, but they don't look at her. She's not looking at them because nothing's happening. But anyhow, so
not in the ladies' room, you've got two women
Yeah,
chatting with each other. Some other person walks in and changes the towels and grabs another stack and walks out. In the men's room, there's some
completely.
dudes sauna-ing and some showering, and another dude who she's like, "Hey, where's the lockers?" You know, that's back there.
No
Yeah,
one cares.
no one
No one
cares.
cares. Yeah, I loved that too. Because I felt so bad because you could see how uncomfortable she is
Yeah,
walking through
yeah.
there,
No
and
one
no one
cares.
gives a shit.
The only person uncomfortable was her,
Yeah.
because she's afraid that some other asshole is going to be, probably one of the most ballsy things she does in the movie is when she gets in a taxi cab and yells at a dude to get the hell
Dude,
out.
I know, right? Yeah.
And because at this point in the movie, if you never read the news or something, you realize what a risk she's taking yelling at somebody, because
Yeah.
you might start the movie, if you've been living under a rock, wondering why she's so flat affected and
Yeah.
doesn't react to anybody, doesn't show any emotion, doesn't get assertive or aggressive, just kind of passively takes everything thrown at her. Towards the middle of the film, you're like, oh, that's why, because people will do this. And so towards the end of the film, when she jumps in the car, it's like, I have an emergency, get the hell out. And the guy sits there and looks at her, and you're like, uh-oh, is she going to get killed? Because that happens. And he's like, okay. And he's out. And it's like, whew.
Yeah.
So.
There was yeah. So the boyfriend dies.
Yes.
And it's basically the entire movie is
brain
about
aneurysm for anyone.
Yeah, and brain aneurysms, but and that's where the age thing comes in, is that it's more realistic.
Still young, but
yes. So so basically they need to make preparations for his funeral, and everyone is telling her, oh, no, I'll take, don't call anyone, don't talk to anyone, don't show up, don't do this, I'll take care of all this. And everyone's like, it's all about keeping her hidden away and not involved, and not like sharing in the loss of someone who was very important to her. And she says in the movie, she's like, because wife says, it should only be for his loved ones, and she's like, Orlando was a loved one to me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. But yeah, it's everyone, it's just the hardest moment. So and she's so gracious. She, being Marina, the character, is so gracious. People just walk all over her. And so many times she has to be like, just putting up with it and putting up with it. And there's a moment that the ex-wife calls and says, I need, his car, just drop it off for me. And so this is when they meet. So this is when you and I were talking about that scene.
He passes away, and like the very next day, the family is contacting her and saying, by the way, we need you to drop off the car, return the car, get out of the apartment.
Yeah. It's a quick, like
it's the kind of, well, the brother son that I don't know, the son is the most violently transphobic.
Yeah.
The ex-wife is the kind of transphobe who would insist that she's not transphobic.
Yes.
The kind of person who seems to think like, oh, I don't have a problem with trans people. As long
as they're not in my life.
As long as they're hidden. As long as I don't have to ever see them or hear from them or
interact with them.
As long as they don't exist, but not in a bad way.
Yeah.
Right. Well, trans people shouldn't exist, but not in a bad way. It's like, are you listening to yourself?
And like, for me, there's what she says to Marina in that moment. How does she says, I don't know what I'm looking at when I look at you. And like, my heart dropped. I was like, a human, perhaps?
Just a person.
I'm like, a person who just lost someone.
Person who poops, just like you.
I was like, what do you mean you don't know what you're looking at? She's not a lamp. I was heartbreaking, because I'm like, that might be like what it is that upsets people. And I'm like, Annie Lennox is unapologetic and and so was what's his Gareth. Jareth. But like
in Labyrinth?
But yes, David Bowie. His name was just not coming to me.
Okay.
But like, you're allowed to be androgynous.
Kudos to the actor who plays the ex-wife, because she with just mannerisms and facial expressions, she is just radiating disgust and loathing.
Yes, and discomfort, and she's that actress hit it on the head.
I mean, she the way she
fidgets and
it's like the way she reacts to Marina just standing there is the same disgusted, uncomfortable way people on a subway act when they watch someone drop down and take a shit on the seat, you know.
Right. And that's what I think was so and you just said it, and that's what I thought was so powerful is Marina spends so much time stoic, like you said, like not and she does a beautiful job, like the actress is,
which I think the movie, again, if you don't pay attention to the news, I think the movie does a fine job of communicating that she's not just a passive, boring person who feels nothing. That is a survival technique.
Yes, because it has all that heavy breathing. Like, did you notice the breathing in the movie being very overpowering? Like just the silence, and then like just listening to her breathing because she's just trying to like work through it.
That almost becomes part of the
sound, the score. It does. It's very like part of the score. Just her trying to get through it, and she has feelings, and there's so much, but she can't react. And like you said, for this ex-wife to be,
because you never know who's going to drag your ass off the street, throw you in a car, and wrap your head in Scotch tape.
Right? But like this ex-wife is all fidgety and all hatred and
random happens in the movie.
Yeah. It's all and she's uncomfortable, and she has an amazing physicality to encountering Marina, and Marina's just standing there. Performance-wise, and Marina's just standing there. And I think that says a lot about just nature, is like, the problem's with you, man. She's just standing there.
I love
she's just standing there, and you are having a problem.
Maybe I'm reading in, but I love when she's returning the car. This is still the parking lot scene.
Yes.
And she opens the front door and she sticks it in and is looking around like does it smell of trans in here or something? And then she goes into the back seat and is looking around. And then she pops the hatchback and she looks in there, and there's all his work bullshit, just like a box full of file folders and like a garment bag and some other stuff. And she doesn't say anything, but what I got out of her performance was this woman is sitting on, I figured you'd have stolen all of this, you know? Like, that's again, might be reading into it, but that's what I was taking away from that performance there. So I think
so, because everything they blame her, they don't blame, sorry, they accuse her, they being the family, accuse her of stealing constantly. Like, even when the son comes and he looks at the suitcases, like, what are these suitcases? Like, she's taking things out, and she's like, well, I was actually
moving my stuff in.
But yeah. So there are some very interesting creative moments, existential moments,
filmmaking wise.
Yes.
Talking now? Okay.
Yes, there are that, because the movie itself is a narrative. It is very grounded in reality. It's and then all of a sudden they're like, there's this 4 minutes that Terrence Malick, come please direct this moment. I know we talked about him recently, but like, you know what I mean? Like with the wind and with her disco dancing and flying, there are some moments, and I loved them. I thought they were very, and they were, well, she sees, I guess I'm talking myself out of it, because she sees him throughout the entire movie anyway. So she's always there's always something, her head
Pardon.
projecting her feelings when she's dancing, when she's walking against the wind, and she's like seeing.
Yeah,
You have things to say.
It felt a little on the nose for me. I mean, the dancing scene I liked because it's dancing and it's glittery and it's fun. But it ends with her staring at the camera, and I'm like, yeah, I get it. The whole thing with her walking against the wind and pressing so hard against the wind and just can't make any progress. I'm like, yeah, I get it. You know,
I thought that one was funny because it came out of. It really progressed well, though. It progressed well because
it sneaks up on you.
She was walking towards the wind and it's windy, and then slowly it gets a little windier, and you don't notice it until you're like, holy crap,
she's doing the Michael Jackson lean against it.
This is really goddamn windy. But yeah, I will say, as much as I like the dancing moment, I didn't like how she flew off the dance floor into the camera and was like, I am beautiful. And I'm like, I know.
It's like, do you get it? Are you picking up what this movie's putting down? It's like, yes, I got it. Thank you.
I like it. I like you. Yeah. So, but it's, how long is this movie? I don't even remember.
It's a little over 100 minutes. It's less than 2 hours, but about $1.40, $1.45, somewhere in there.
It's just there's nothing, and it's not a bad, like, I enjoyed it. It's a good movie. It's one of those movies, however, that suffers from, I am so happy I've seen it. It's a beautiful film. I can't watch it again. It's
so kind of like what's Aronofsky's drug film?
Requiem for a Dream. Oh, I loved Requiem.
Great film,
but it's like,
no, I don't want to watch it again.
There are some, but like I just was watching this movie and I just wanted to scream, and I wanted to hit people, and I wanted to help her, and I wanted to just, and there was a lot of silence. So you just got to sit there in your feeling of despair, and they're like, no, the scene will come.
It's not a
for
fun
now
movie.
You have to sit and just be really forlorn.
Yeah. It's not a fun movie.
No. Okay.
There was one point in the middle where, because the brother, whoever it is, not her brother, but the
Gabo.
Yeah, not Gabo, the bad one who steals her dog.
That's the son. That's
the son.
Orlando's son, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's Gabo's
like a first marriage, because she has an
adult son. He's
adult son,
her age. Anyway, he's like, oh, that's the dog. I can't even sleep in the same room with that dog because he smells. I'm like, well, then why are you? But I just don't want you to have it. So he steals her dog, and I'm thinking, are we going full John Wick here? Because I'm all
for it.
I approve if that's what we're doing. No, that's not what we're doing. But so I don't like the movie, but I don't dislike the movie. Okay. I was never bored.
Right. It's not boring.
Craft-wise, I have my nitpicks here and there, and we can get to that in a second. But yes. We talked about the a bit on the nose visual metaphors in a few places. But yeah, it's something that I'm not going to pull off the shelf and watch again. Yeah. And to be fair, it's not meant to be. I don't think the filmmakers are like, this is going to be a perennial classic of your collection that's coming out once a year.
Like, what was that movie? Amour. That French movie, Amour, with oh gosh, the same year that Les Mis came out, anyways. And it was just of these two octogenarians who've loved each other, and then at the end of the movie, they're both dead, and you're like, good film, great. great
Cool.
performances. I hate life now.
I could watch episode 3 of The Last of Us in half the time. Not octogenarians. I think they made
But
it
that love of
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Two people grow old together. Oh, and then they die. Oh, in each other's arms. Oh.
So yeah, I would agree with you, brothers. I do agree that I don't think it is one of those that was meant for multiple views.
True, but I will say I definitely admire the movie. And while I can't say it's a movie I really enjoyed watching, I've sourced a few different places now that this film, on the back of its Academy Award win for Best Foreign Film, activists, the momentum from that galvanized enthusiasm and activism to get gender identity laws in Chile passed the next year. I think that allowed people to more easily change their gender and other demographic and their names on their IDs and stuff.
Oh, so yay! That makes me so happy.
This movie was instrumental in getting that law passed in Chile. So even if I didn't totally enjoy the film,
bravo.
Awesome.
Because I will say there is that plus, like, all of the rigmarole that this woman has to go through just to say goodbye to the man that, you know, she loved and like who died right next to her. She's investigated by people, and I was always like, why are police involved?
Like, for what? And they're like, well, did he abuse you? It's like, no. Well, did you abuse him? No.
Was he paying you? Are you being trafficked? Like, and you never, as a at least unless
it's just harassment. I mean, it comes under the veneer of we're just concerned and asking questions.
Yeah.
And it's you're just being a harassing asswipe.
Yeah. There was a moment, and I shouldn't even bring it up, but I started down this path. When she was getting examined by that policewoman who kept saying, you have to call me and you have to come in and I'm here to help you. And I'm always like, what are you doing to her? I don't even understand. And then she has to get the physical exam and they ask her to
leave the room.
To disrobe it. Yeah. They're like,
they asked the police officer to leave the room, and she's like, and she goes,
no. And she looks straight at Marina, and I'm just like,
it's a power play.
And it is, but it's also like the point of why people's like trans genitalia is so interesting to people. And to me,
yeah, she gets asked at least by at least two different people throughout the movie about, you know, what's between her legs. And yeah, it's a question no one's ever asked me. I have to imagine that I'd be a little annoyed by it if people kept asking me about my genitalia. I'd be like, why are we sleeping together? No. Right? Then why do you care?
I have a lot of friends. I don't have an interest in any of their private parts. But like, that's the thing is like, if they were to get undressed, I would just, they're called private parts for a reason. But yeah, I wanted to smack her so hard because I'm like, that is purely because you don't understand and you don't like what you don't understand and it scares you. Thank you, Beauty.
Like what we
I know.
Understand. In fact, it scares us.
Yeah.
That's great lyric line from the Kill the Beast song in Beauty and the Beast.
Very good. So that makes me happy to hear. And that also helps because I really was and I didn't do my homework. I had a heck of a day at work. But anyways, because that whole plot of like governmental and police and all that involvement, all I could think of is I'm like, I might not get it, but they probably are just making shit up as they go. You know, it's all just like
just it's like I have to work at being an awful person. It takes a lot of thought and commitment and consideration to be this much of a transphobic dipstick.
I've always thought that like being an asshole takes so much work. Like lying takes work. I can't remember.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast. I'm not going to remember what I lied about. So
exactly, like it takes nothing to just be boring.
Granted, I'm also very boring.
You're also very boring.
So telling the truth about everything is no big deal to me.
What'd you do today, Andrew? Nothing.
Worked.
All right, worked out, and played a video game.
Yeah.
This is all true. So what are your so we both know like it wasn't a movie that we're either gonna watch again.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it more than you, but neither of us were like, oh my god, amazing film. It was amazing in what it did. Oh my god, right? It's amazing in what it did. I'm proud of that. I'm glad it won. I think representation matters. I hope she does more. I hope everyone does more. Great cast, great actors. Then again, they probably all have done more. I don't watch Chilean cinema.
Not in this country. Yeah.
It's not here, so good on them. I hope that they're doing
if
well.
If it doesn't happen in America, it may as well not happen.
At all. Yeah, right.
From an American's perspective, anyway.
So then, what are your nitpicks?
Okay. I feel that Alexa Vega, Daniela Vega. Okay, wrong Vega, no relation. Not that I know of, anyway. Did her own singing, which I didn't think she did because she can't dub herself with shit. She's terrible at lip syncing.
The thing is, so I remember that she did do her own singing, and
I had to look in the credits. She did do her own. Okay,
I was questioning it because I knew going in that she sang, and so when she started the film and she was doing that jazzy number about the newspaper, mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay, that's cute. But she's kind of far and she's doing a jazzy thing. And I'm like, whatever. I'm like, oh, she's good. She's cute. I like her voice. And then later, as she's doing more vocalizing, I'm like, I thought she was supposed to be singing. So that helps to know that she just is bad at. But that's okay.
The ADR does not match.
You know what? Not everyone is great at that. Even amazing performers suck at their.
Oh yeah, there are moments in the movie where she's kind of humming or singing to herself, and
there's a lot of those.
I'm not sure if it's the intention, but I was like, is that part of the soundtrack? Is she diegetically singing or not? I can't really tell because she's like just kind of, but she's not. Oh, she's not doing that. She's.
Yeah.
I'm like. Is that diegetic? Is she actually making noise? Is the character making noise, or is it just kind of part of the score? And that was a little confusing to me here and there.
I will agree. It was a choice for a reason that I'm not sure I understand. So I don't know but I was like, and it was, to me, I was just like, it's off-putting in an uncomfortable way. So maybe it's just trying to create that sort of like headspace, because I feel like all of those like outlying moments are just all of her just headspace.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
so for me, it's just like, I want to scream, but I can't scream. So I'm just going to kind of
do a little opera,
internally yawn with my countertenor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it just put me into
that's like mezzo, I think.
She would be a mezzo. Like, she's definitely not a soprano, but
not full soprano. No,
she's not a full soprano, but it would.
That's a soprano, though.
She does have a higher of voice, but then again, she is
very nice on the sustained notes.
It's clear.
It's very, her sustained notes are solid and sustained and lovely. it's her diphthongs and vowel shapes, the way she closes words that may be a stylistic thing. I don't
I
like
was
the way she
wondering
does it, but
I don't know what language she was singing in. Was it Italian at the end?
I don't remember.
I don't either. So I was wondering if it was a language because I don't think
Might be.
I didn't
Just
know the
might be a
aria, so it
different
might
way
have
of,
just
yeah.
yeah.
So
Um,
two more little nitpicks, and then I'll
and I'll
close
tell you
on.
my big
Eh,
nitpick,
Okay.
unless it's
Uh, passage of time is a little unclear.
a little unclear.
Because it's like I'm not sure if a day has passed or if like a week has passed, or it's like, because she's like, you got to return the car tomorrow at 10 and you've got this appointment at 12. I'm like, is that? And then she does. I'm like, is this 3 days later? Is this actually the next morning? Did everything happen last night?
Yeah.
So the passage of time, not exactly clear. And there seems to, some of the, there seems to be like some scenes, some connective tissue missing. For example, I guess she got her dog back at some point.
Yeah. She's jumping on the thing and she's like, I want my dog.
So like,
and then she gives them the keys to Orlando's apartment and they drive away and then she's jogging with the dog. So I'm like,
I guess she got her dog back.
I guess
at some
she
point.
got her dog back.
She's in she's in the drive-through car wash. She sees the vision of Orlando, and then it cuts to her inside a convenience store where she's trying to pay for the car wash, but they're making her buy a latte also because they're assholes. I think, but it's like, maybe that's just here in America. You can't drive through the automatic car wash until you pay for it first. It won't turn on. So maybe it's different down there. You actually go through and then you have to park your car and get out and go inside and pay for it, which is weird, but I don't know. But there were some connective tissues where it seemed like there were some scene transitions, like when she's like, oh, I guess she just ran into a really nice morgue person who let her view the body before they cremated him.
Yeah, because she was
good.
brought there by Orlando, but not because it had to be someone who actually led her to the bowels of the crematorium.
Yeah.
But
or she's just kind of going her own way. But
so
those are my slight nitpicks, but I will end on a fantastic thing. In addition to a fantastic woman, I have to say that her blue denim dress is fantastic. That's my favorite outfit in this. Well, the sparkly shrug things in the dancing was pretty awesome too, but that blue dress thing she has, styling.
So regarding her wardrobe, the thing that I found, like, I have to applaud her because she walks around her entire city in clogs. And I'm talking, she's got to be going miles. This is a woman who knows how to read maps. She knows her city. She knows how to get places. And I applaud her because she's walking throughout the whole thing or taking public transit. But you know that there is a lot of hoof in it. And I would look at her shoes and I'm like, you go, girl. Damn, you go, girl.
She's wearing wedges or something.
Yeah, they're like a wedgie clog because they have the rounded toe and the wooden sole. Okay. I was concerned even at the end, because at the end when she's singing in concert, you think, okay, so she is an actual professional singer. Not that singing. I
mean, it could just be a recital, but
bar. But for me, because I'm like, what the hell do you do for a living? Because
I think predominantly she's a waitress, but
you're kind of a waitress, but you're not always there. And I know that it's extraneous circumstances this week that
did she go to work today? I don't know. Yeah.
She's rarely working. She's walking everywhere. Tons of hours are passing. And yet she's not struggling for money, to be very, very clear, because they offer her money. And granted, she wouldn't have taken their money either. Yeah. But it's never as if she's struggling for money either, which I also appreciated. That I don't, and it never felt like she didn't
Yeah.
have stuff.
I think she waits tables and she makes some supplemental income with,
Singing,
doing some singing
performances.
gigs.
Okay. But there was, I'm just like,
Very difficult to make a living singing.
oh no.
I've sung professionally, and yeah, so I know a lot of singers, and I know a bunch of international gold medalists, and I know one who does it professionally, but he also does a lot of supplemental stuff. Like he creates learning tracks and stuff.
Oh shoot.
So
All of the
most
singers
most
that
of the
I've worked
musicians
with,
I know have other jobs.
I know, and it's terrible. And it's few and far between of the singers that I've worked with that don't have.
Yeah, you won international. You're touring the country. You put out
thing.
CDs. What do you do for a living? A dentist. Or I sell cars. I'm whatever. I don't do this. I mean, I make some money doing it, sure, and it's nice, but yeah, I don't make a living doing this.
Yeah.
People will fly us out to sing, and they'll put us up, and we get a stipend, and we make some money, but it's not enough to live off of. We have to have day jobs.
Oh yes. Oh yes, absolutely. So
anything else to say?
No, I'm happy that I finally saw it. I'm happy that we have a place that you and I can just finally go back through the back catalogs of our brain.
Yep.
So I guess with that, our June Pride Month comes to an end. So yay to everyone in the Rainbow Mafia. We love you. And
how have I not heard that before? That's great.
So
and y'all have the coolest flag.
We did. They're good. Well, who doesn't like color? So
my favorite is the all-inclusive progress flag, the one with the chevron
the one with the
on it.
Yeah.
Because it is amazing that a flag with 10 or 11 different colors on it, with horizontal stripes and then multi-stripe chevron, doesn't look like a gaudy mess. It's actually a really attractive design, and I'm kudos to
whoever designed it. Yeah,
it's got a Q in his name. I forget what his name is, but I looked it up once, and because I think it was 2015, 16, 17, 18, somewhere on there. It's fairly recent invention, but it
is fairly recent, but I do like it. It's a goodie.
Looks good.
So, yeah, absolutely. So yay. But so Pride Month might be over. Movie mandates never. So we will continue in July with Independence Day. So indie movies. I love a good pun.
Independence Month.
And here's the thing. I've always sucked at comedies because I laugh at my own jokes before I've told them. So I apologize. I'm a dramatic actress. Independence Day. And we will start with indie movies. Your pick, brother. And it is, I'm so excited. I can't wait. It is
Primer.
Oh, wait. Primer. Is this the one that goes backwards a lot of times? And it goes, and everyone needs a flowchart to follow it?
I think it's about time travel. I think it's about two goobers who make a time travel machine in their garage. So I think so. I've never seen it. So
I've never seen it either. I have. I'm ready. I'm gonna get paper and pencil ready.
But the guy who made it, Shane Karath or something like this. This was back in 2004 or something like. 2004. Apparently made it for like $7,000. So he, wrote, starred in, produced, and took 2 years to edit the thing or something like that. So we were talking before we started recording about the true definition of an independent film and how it's kind of malleable. This may actually be as close to a truly independent film, because if they're right on that, it only cost $7,000 and was shot in his garage. Sounds like he probably paid for it, and it stars all his family and friends. So, but I've also heard it's actually a really interesting and good movie. So
I've heard of it. Like you said it, and I'm like, ooh, I think I know what you're talking about. my first thought, you had said primer, and I was like, is that the Uma Thurman? No, that's Prime. Primer is the time travel one. Okay. So if you would like to watch that with us, go ahead and check the description to see where it is playing right now. And until then, you can catch Movie Mandates on iTunes.
There's more than one.
There's more than one. There's just
iTunes. There's just one damn podcast on there.
Tune in, because there we are. It's us, apparently. And then the iTunes and the YouTubes. But what? So then why is it only YouTube? Why is there only one of them? Only one per you can tube. Oh, I guess that's why. iTunes and YouTube.
YouTube, we tube, we all tube.
That's what we need.
For you.
We need a we. iTunes, a YouTube, and a we
fit.
A we fit. Okay. So anyways, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave us comments and leave us stars and leave us recommendations, because one day we're gonna run out of topics.
But don't leave us.
But just don't leave us. And until then, you can follow me and find me on Twitter as I am at GetEisengard. And
I'm at Andrew Eisen.
Until then, have a good time, and we'll see you next time on Movie Mandates. Bye.
Bye.